That zeal you have is what drives you, is what you start everything on, is what you build on.
I've always been asked, how do I position my business, my brand in the marketplace? How do I become visible? How do I become a market leader? How do I just get my product or services out there? People keep asking me these questions, and when I try to explain, there was a lady many years ago. I think she was into fashion, but I think she had a good product. She had some African prints. I can't really know. I don't really know how to differentiate it between wear and which other one, whatever they call all those kind of materials. I don't really know, but I know that these are African prints, and she had a good combination. And I told her, look, I can come to you, I can teach you about how to do this brand positioning. She said, I should just tell her what she needs to do. I said, it's a couple of things. Businesses succeed because they're intentional about it. If you want to be successful in life, you have to be intentional about it. So you can't say, oh, it's a long lecture. I tried to tell her some parts of it, and she didn't really have the patience for it. And that was about the last time I saw her. But it doesn't matter. This presentation I'm making this morning or today is how to create a strong brand positioning in the marketplace, in the market generally. And it does not matter if you're an MSME, you're an SME, or you are a startup. There are some basic things that you need to know. There are some basic things that you have to do well. See, success has a path. There's a pattern to success. There's a path to success. It's left for you now to say, look, I want to know how to be successful. I want to walk through this path or not. So, like I said, it can be a small time business. It can be a product. It can be a service. It can be small. It can be medium scale. It can be large. It does not matter. If you walk the principles will work for you. I say it again. If you walk the principles of brand positioning, and it will definitely work for you. So let's try to understand what this brand positioning, because this is what we're talking about. How do I take my brand and make it visible, especially in the market? Brand positioning is a process of positioning your brand in the mind of your customers. Is If I want to simplify it, is how do I get into the mind of my customers? That is brand positioning. And I was in a car with a friend of mine, and we were driving around the city, and we saw a good billboard, and it was like, okay, this is a good positioning. I said, yes, it could be a way of positioning your product or service, but the ultimate goal of brand positioning is for it to be in the mind of your customers. Brand positioning can also be referred as what is called brand positioning strategy. When you hear positioning strategy, it's also the same thing. When you hear brand strategy, the same thing. But there's a word that is very important in brand positioning. In brand positioning, you must have a brand positioning statement. There must be a statement. Brand positioning is different from taglines. These are some of the things we are going to learn here today. So let's explore more on this brand positioning. The idea of brand positioning is what? Is an attempt to own a marketing niche for your product service. A niche is a place, a unique place for you. A niche is a place where you have crafted for yourself, where it is your product and service is going to have make impact in the market. So it is an attempt to identify and own your own niche in the market for your product or service. The goal of brand positioning is what? To create a unique impression in the customer's mind. I've said it. It is in their mind that we're looking to put this thought. This our brand positioning is in the mind of our customers. There's this book I want you guys to look for. It's called The Position in the Battle for the Mind. It's by Al Rees and Jack Trout. Jack Trout and Al Rees is a best-selling book called Positioning the Battle for the Mind, where they define positioning as an organized system for finding a window in the mind of your customers. I think we by now we begin to have an idea. Oh, okay, brand positioning is going into how to get into the mind of your customers. Brand positioning occurs whether you are proactive, your company is proactive about it or not. You see, whether you decide to take a position or not, you are actually taking a position. That's what it means. If you are intentional about getting your positioning in the mind of your customers, and if you are not, you are getting into the mind of your customers, whether you are proactive or intentional about it or not. Usually in the marketplace, if you are not intentional, you are also sending the same kind of vibes as somebody that is intentional. So what when people look at your product in the marketplace, they will not take it very seriously because that is the positioning that you have taken, that you are not interested in getting it into the mind of the customers. So let's begin to look at the process. What is the process of brand positioning? In order to create a brand position strategy, you must first of all do what? Identify the brand's uniqueness and determine what differentiates you from your competition. I want to position myself. Oh, I want my product to be the best. I have this, I have that. What are the differentials? What differentiates you from your competition? What is unique about your product? In this brand positioning, there's a lot of truth you're going to speak to yourself. There's a lot that you're going to learn from it. And the important thing is what identify your brand's uniqueness. That is the reason why you are in business in the first place. I tell people you don't get into business because you feel that um, you have the product. You feel that you can do it. This is the reason why startups fail within the first 1 year. Over 80% or over 85% fail in the first 1 year because of wrong assumptions, not taking time to find out how unique is my product or service. Because this is what is going to help you in positioning. Positioning is not a wishful thinking. Positioning is knowing exactly what you have to offer, and that is where it starts. I'm going to quickly give you 7 steps to clarify if you are qualified and to start the process of positioning in the marketplace. The first one is determine how your brand is currently positioned. Determine how your brand is currently positioning itself in the market. How is my brand? Do people know my brand? If they know my brand, how do they feel about that brand? Um, I have 3 brands here, and each day I am asking myself, how are they positioned? Uche Onochie is a brand on its own because I'm a thought leader. I bring knowledge. I make knowledge accessible to many. So I want to know how that Uche Onochie brand is doing. How is it positioned in line with other um, speakers and other thought leaders in their own field? These are the questions that I ask myself. Make in Nigeria is another brand here. How is this Make in Nigeria concept? How is it aligning with other people? How is it aligning with other people that are doing exhibition conferences and are trying to push an ideology out there? How is it doing? We also, our third brand here is Marketplace Apostle. How are these things being positioned? How are they being positioned in the market? In the marketplace. This is the question that I ask myself. It must be in line with competition. You identify your brand position in relation with your competition or your competitors or what competition is doing currently. So you cannot survive in the market without having to be mindful of the people that are around you doing the same thing, because if you're not mindful of that, there is no way you can position your brand in the mind of people when you know that there are other brands out there. So the second one is identify direct competitors. You can't survive in an industry without clearly identifying who are my competitors and what is my own unique selling proposition. And because that will help you in your market penetration strategy. What is currently happening in my industry, in my market? And this will help you. The third one is understand how each competitor is positioning their brand. So you have to be mindful of what is happening. I met a guy a long time ago, and I said he said to me, he said, "Look, I don't really bother about what other people are doing. I'm just running my race." I said, "That means you're just running your race blindly, because if somebody is ahead of you in the market, that person must be doing something right." So you must be understand what is the positioning that they are taking in social media, in digital marketing. What position are they taking in publicity? What position are they taking in sales? I think that these are things you should know, and it's not rocket science. If you go to their website, Google, ask one or two people, it's easy for you to get to know what your competition is really doing. The fourth one is compare your positioning to your competitors to identify your uniqueness. It is in comparison that you find your uniqueness. If you don't compare yourself with your competitors, how do you know you have a good quality product or service? So definitely, comparison comes into it. All right. The fourth step in the brand positioning strategy is what? Compare your positioning to your competitors to identify your uniqueness. See, without competition, there can't be differentiation. Without, if you don't put two things, you don't compare A to B, you will not know the difference between A and B. So what it means is that your product and service, you must compare it with what is in the market, because that is what makes you unique. Not just being unique is also, this is the because as a business person, you're looking for how to fill the gap in the market. And the only way you can fill the gap in the market is to know what is missing in the market. So as an entrepreneur, it is your business to find out what are competitors not giving in the market that you can provide. So that becomes your market penetration strategy, looking for something that competition is not doing at all, that can be an edge for you. Everybody is looking for an edge. So for you to be able to build a strong brand positioning, you must understand what competition is doing in line with what you're doing, because that's where you get your uniqueness. If you didn't have that uniqueness before, it is when you compare, you see that uniqueness. And another word for that uniqueness is it is the gap. And that gap is what we're looking for in business to fill for the customers. And a happy customer, you also will, and your product will be moving well in the market as well. So the fifth step is what? Develop a distinct and value-based positioning idea. There must be an idea behind everything. It must be distinct and it must be value-based. Everything you do as a business person must is about creating value in the market. If you are not creating any clear and identifiable solution or value in the market, that market is going to spit you out. That market is going to kick you out because the market is too vibrant and for you to come without adding value. What the market is looking for is value. So, with all this now, what happens? The sixth step now is if you ask yourself all these questions and position yourself in this way, you can now come up with a brand positioning statement. Every organization, business or MSME or startup or SME or whatever it is that you are, you must have a brand positioning statement. And all the steps is what is going to help you to craft that brand positioning statement, which I'm going to also help you and guide you in this presentation. The last one, of course, you test the efficacy of your statement because it's not just about having a statement. Is it powerful enough? Is it effective enough? So before I move on, there must be a clear demarcation between brand brand positioning statement and taglines. Taglines are different from brand positioning statements, which can often be confusing. Brand positioning statements are often confused with company taglines. So, what are these brand positioning statements? They are what? They are for internal use mainly. These statements they guide the marketing and operating decisions of your business. What is the operational? When you have a statement, it becomes easy for you now. When you have a statement, it becomes easy for you now to have an operational guide. Is mainly this brand positioning statement is mainly for marketing and operational purposes, making decisions at that level. So it helps you to make the right decision. If you follow those steps, you will get to the point where you now have that statement. That statement is now become a policy statement that the company is going to be using to make further decisions. A tagline is an external statement used in your marketing efforts. This is what a tagline is. This is what a tagline means. Let me just give you an example. Um, Before I give you an example, let me just give you four essential elements that will help you in your brand positioning statement. Because we're talking about the statement is an internal policy that helps you with whatever you want to do. But I wanted to make sure it is you don't think is a tagline, and I'm going to give you the examples between a tagline and a statement. So just hang in there. But let me just give you the four elements that will help you to have a powerful brand state positioning statement. The first is target customer. You must be clear on who your customer is. Their attitudinal and demographics should be something that you know. Attitudinal, it means what? What is the buying pattern? What is the buying pattern of the people in that industry? Like I always tell people, follow the money. If you are in the industry, follow how the big spenders or the spenders within that industry, what are they buying? What is the attitude? What is the feeling? What is the demographics? Who are your customers? Who are your target customers? It must be clear to you who your target customers are, because without it, there is where are you positioning? You cannot position your brand if you do not know your target customers. The second one is your market must be clearly defined. When I talk about your market, I'm talking about the market category or industry. Which industry do you belong in? And because if you know the industry you belong in, then you know the brand, you know who you are competing with. So the first element is what? It is target customers, know your customers. The second one is market definition. You must know the market and the industry you are in. The third one is the promise. What is the compelling emotional and rational benefit of this your product? Every product must have an emotional attachment. Why do I drink um, this particular kind of soda in place of this particular kind of soft drink? Why do I do that? There must be something emotional. Sometimes we buy out of emotions, not necessarily because we need those things or we want those things. And also we buy because we can ration it out. We can critically assess why we need those things. So your brand must promise your customers those things, and it must be in your brand statement. Then the fourth one is the reason to believe. Why do we believe? It must be compelling enough for us to believe that what you say is what we're going to get. So let me just get to the example for you. Amazon, in 2001, when Amazon was mainly almost exclusively sold books. This is what they did. Because, like I said, remember, target customer, market definition, brand promise, then the reason to believe. So look, let's now put it into how Amazon did theirs. It says for the World Wide Web users, so we are now where you can see target customers for the World Wide Web, www World Wide Web users who enjoy books, Amazon.com. So now we have clearly identified the market, those on the web and those that enjoy reading. And so now the definition comes with those that then it puts the company, the definition starts with the company name. It says Amazon.com is a retail bookseller that provides instant access to over 1.1 million books. Unlike traditional book retailers, Amazon.com provides a combination of extraordinary convenience, low price, and comprehensive selection. So in when you are doing your statement, so this is not just a brand positioning statement. This is a policy statement for the company. And so for their operations revolve around this. It revolves around their target. It revolves around the industry. It revolves around the promise, because your statement is talking about a promise that you must keep. You must keep. And the reason for people to believe you. All this make up your brand statement. So it's important that you have it, whether you are whatever you are, MSME or whatever it is. If you're not even advertising this, when you have the opportunity to pitch to someone, this is how you make your pitch as well. So you don't have money to advertise, you don't have money for a lot of things. You'll say that you are just starting out as a startup or whatever, but your pitch must carry these things. It must carry. So when you are talking, we know that this is your brand positioning statement, because you are trying to get into the mind of your customers. A second example is what? There's a company called Zipcar.com. Zipcar is they're into retail, they're into um, it's not like it's not like taxi hailing, it's not like Bolt or Uber we have here. There you can rent for a long time. You can rent for 6 months, for 1 year, instant. They are more flexible, that you can just come and pick. Usually it's in the we see it in the Western world. So this is, you can have more than just a ride. You can book a ride, you can drive, you can just take it, and if you want to take a tour of a country, so they give you more. It usually doesn't come with a driver. It's called zip car. And look at what they did. Look at their own statement. It says to urban dwelling, their target audience is now urban dwelling, educated, techno savvy customers. Urban dwelling, educated, techno savvy customers. So it is clearly indicated that this urban dwelling, yeah, educated and tech savvy. These are your customer. These are your market. These are your target customers. And now say when you use Zipcar, you must put the name. When you're defining the industry, it has to come with your name. So Zipcar sharing, when you now use Zipcar sharing service, instead of owning a car, you do what? You enter into the promise now, the brand promise to save you money while reducing carbon footprint. So now for those that are how will I say it, that into environment, that pro environment, take care of they are worried about carbon emission and all that, they are appealing to you by this statement that now for carbon print, the carbon print for this, it is reduced, and also the cost, you save money from it. This is what this is what a brand positioning statement means. So this is how they have been able to coin their brand positioning statement. So it works. It is working for them. So it's not just a statement, it's a policy. And like I said, you don't have to be as big as them, but if you craft your own, it can become your pitch. It can become a pitch, effective pitch for you. So wherever you are, you can tell whoever, or your profile or whatever it is. I don't think it costs much to have a website. You have a Facebook, you have a Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is. You can put your brand positioning statement there, and people will understand exactly what you are doing. So let's now see examples of taglines. These are taglines. Let's see for Mercedes Benz. Their tagline is engineered like no other car in the world. Taglines, we can also call them slogans, but the actual word is taglines. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Walmart, always low prices, always. Nike, just do it. Coca-Cola, the real thing. Volvo for life. So these are the taglines. Taglines, that's why I said taglines are not brand positioning statement. They are different. This is external. This is what is like what escorting your brand, escorting the promise that you have made to the people. Then we also need to evaluate a well-crafted positioning statement is what? Is a powerful tool that brings focus and clarity to what you're doing. But we also need to evaluate it to know how. I'll just give you some points. I think everything in life needs to be evaluated and re-evaluated. Because it worked for this year doesn't mean it's going to be effective like that again next year. So we must evaluate every um, everything that we do. Everything that we do, our statements and policies also need to be re-evaluated. So the way you re-evaluate brand positioning strategy is what? Does it differentiate your brand? After all said and done, does it differentiate your brand? Does it match your customer perception of your brand? These are the questions that you're going to ask if you position yourself in this way. Does it enable growth? Is there growth? Does it identify your brand unique value? to your customers? Does it produce a clear picture in their mind that is different from your competitors? Is it focused on your core customers? Is it memorable and motivating? Is it consistent in all areas of your business? These are some of the questions um, that you need to ask yourself after you produce this brand positioning statement or policy. So, because in that way, it will help you. You have to keep reevaluating this. So now, how do I now integrate your brand positioning into the customer's mind? To do that is you have to position your mind to position your mind is through every member of your organization. It is called your brand touch points. Who are the people that are in these key touch points? Key touch points are who are the people interfacing with your customers. It's a brand policy. And when somebody is coming into your organization in their onboarding, um, in their onboarding process, they should be told this is our brand positioning statement. And it is like it is what a policy we follow. Because if your staff are not well aware of this statement and how it impacts growth and how it impacts profits, they're going to relate with the customers without knowing. So without knowing that it's going to impact negatively on the organization. So for you to be able to put it in the mind, it's not just the CEO, it's not just the C-level management, but it's everybody in the organization from the security man outside to whoever you meet on the inside. This statement must be relieved every day in the organization. That is how it gets into the mind of the customers. So it is not something the CEO is doing alone. It is something everybody is doing together. Brand is intentional. It's intentional that you put your brand out there to people that touch you. You can do TV advert. You can do well in digital marketing, but you see, never underestimate one-on-one sales, one-on-one interaction. It goes a long way. One person can bring you 10 customers. One person can take away 20 customers from you because of one bad experience. So you must be careful when you are dealing with brand. It takes a lot to build a brand. So you must be careful when you're dealing with brand. Once you are clear on the statement, make sure that everybody around you understands this. And this is where it begins to get into the mind. I have seen people selling a product or pushing an idea that is only the founder or the CEO that understands it. So what it means that they will interpret it on their own level, and that interpretation is not the same interpretation the CEO is giving. So it does not reach out to the customer. The CEO cannot meet all the customers. You can't be CEO, you can't be salesperson, you can't be HR person, you can't be a marketer. You can market your product, but you can't do all those things by yourself. So you need people, and that is where all these brand positioning statements will become a waste of time, become a something that will waste your time, the organization. It will become a labor that will not be fruitful if your people are not working in line with this. Because the more you speak out, the more you are saying those things, the more you are interacting with people and letting them know what you can, the more that brand is becoming stronger in the mind of the people. And that is how you begin to gain a position, a strong position in a crowded market. Because the market is crowded. So you must put in that effort. to see that the market accepts you. This is why it's all intentional. If you look at the market leaders, you will see that they all, or those successful in the market, you will see that this trend, the trend of all these things I'm saying, is with them. It takes courage, it takes time, it takes courage. But let me tell you, it's profitable. If you can try it, it is profitable. Go, have in mind those four things. Anytime you're discussing with someone, have in mind those four elements of that statement: your target customer, the definition, your company, and the market definition. And the third one is the brand promise and the belief, reason to believe you. Um, what will happen is you begin to see results after a while. You begin to get calls. You begin to get people send you emails because now your brand is in the mind of somebody who has told somebody else. And this is how it happens. For the three brands I told you guys about, this is how it has happened for me. Somebody will tell someone, I think you need to listen to this guy. I think that this their product is good, this their service is good, and that is how it stays in the mind. And once that brand is registered in the mind of customers, it is difficult to to wash away. It's difficult for you to snatch it out of the mind of customers, except you begin to do things that are not pleasing to your customers. In that way, they will begin to distance themselves from you. So this is how you gain ground in a crowded market. And I bet you, I tell you this: the market is getting crowded every single day, but it's possible. It is possible that you still stand out. People are doing it every day. The thing about the market is that some people come and some people go. The serious ones remain. Some people, they just have money and they just push in a product or service, and at the slightest discomfort, they just leave business and try other things. But the intentional ones that know that this is what I want to do for a lifetime, they will stay there. Follow these steps, be mindful of them, and very soon you become a force to be reckoned with in your market and in your industry. So until we meet again in my next presentation, you guys stay blessed.